So, for the fourth episode of the Long Live Cinema Show, I have with me someone who doesn't need any introduction, but still, if you are not aware, if you don't know him, then Ram Venkat Srikar is a popular film critic who is also known for conducting some of the best interviews with some of the best people in the industry. If you want to check out his work, you should definitely watch his interview with National Award winning sound designer Rajakrishnan sir and veteran film editor A.Sreekar Prasad. In this conversation, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about single screen theater experiences. We talked about intolerance on social media when it comes to having an opinion on films, and we also talked about film journalism in general. So I'm sure you're going to like this video, and in case you do, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and also press the bell icon. And by the way, I plan to release these podcast episodes almost every Sunday at 7 p.m. so you can stay connected to the podcast. Now, without any further delay, sit back, relax, and let's start the show.
Is the audio fine on my end?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Cool.
And I'm sure,
Cool.
is my audio fine?
Yeah. Clean.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the talk of the town, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on the Adipurush trailer, the new trailer?
See, I'll be very honest.
Yeah.
It looks clean.
Okay.
Perhaps I'm not gonna say that it's great or it's spectacular or it's Marvel. I'm not gonna use those. I'm not gonna spew those adjectives. But perhaps my expectations were so low. I mean, like all of us, after the debacle that the teaser was, perhaps all my expectations were so low that I found the trailer acceptable. Like, it's pretty acceptable. I wouldn't appreciate it. I wouldn't call it great, but it's functional. It's functional. Yeah, that's as far as visuals are concerned. It's pretty functional. And we forget the politics and what they're trying to do with the adaptation. We'll see the whole film. And obviously, I loved Ajay Atul's score. Like, I loved that the music. I mean, I remember watching the teaser back when it was released in October. I watched it in office. We were in office that day when the trailer came out at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and all of us were hating the teaser collectively. But I kept watching for Ajay Atul, saying that guys, the music is so good. The music is so good.
Right.
Now, obviously, nobody like everything else, all the noise around the teaser and the misfired VFX kind of overpowered it,
Right.
and people are now listening to that song. So I really like that song, and obviously they had used that song very well, like very effectively in the trailer too. So it looks functional, man. It looks functional for the film. You never know, right? They might have used the best parts from the film to make the trailer. So we'll have to wait and see whether the film stands up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I completely agree with you, and not saying just for the sake of this podcast, but like I also felt the same, that it is like, I won't say I hated it, but I won't say I loved it. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, it is a mixed bag kind of a reaction that I have. And but yes, a great thing about this trailer is that it has actually prompted me a little more to see the film in theaters, because to be very honest, I was going to skip it watching in the theaters, and I thought, koi baat nahi, I'll watch it on OTT whenever, or maybe I can go with my parents sometime later when it's in the theaters. But now this trailer has actually forced me to give it another chance and maybe check it out in the theaters. And speaking of theaters, I also strongly feel, no matter what anyone says or anyone feels, this film is going to be a rage in theaters. Like, it will create such a frenzy in theaters, especially in single screens. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the fans are going to get crazy for sure, right?
It is going to be crazy. It is going to be crazy. See, ever when it was announced in, I think it was announced 3 years ago. I don't remember, in the June or July of 2020. And I was discussing the same with my friends that this film is such a great package that there is no way this can go wrong. Because obviously it's Ramayan, it's Prabhas, it's Om Raut. So there is no way this film would not land at the box office. Obviously, when the teaser dropped, it completely took a U-turn. People were, see, this is a sure shot blockbuster, okay, and you,
Yeah.
anybody who understands mainstream Indian cinema knows that this is a blockbuster. And the all that, that the hatred for the teaser, it kind of emerged from the fact that people felt cheated. All they wanted was a normal film. They wanted a normal film with Prabhas, with normal human beings, and they weren't informed that the film was being shot as a virtual production. So, all that resistance and that, that widespread negativity for the film came from the fact that people felt cheated. And now that the film itself has gone through a graph of sorts, like the film itself has an arc of its own right now, like how it started with high anticipation, and then the anticipation kind of, then all the expectations went down the gutter, and then it has, like, the film has redeemed itself now, and it's poised to take this take the nation by storm, which it is going to. So I think people are going to show up at theaters in large numbers on June 16th. Whether the film delivers it, or whether people will be disappointed again, that needs to be seen. But
Right.
this film is going to create a lot of noise. That's for sure. Like, no two ways about it.
And I'm sure we are going to see many more of those videos that you get to see on YouTube, the people going
Yeah,
bonkers.
yeah.
Whenever I
See, and
watch, please continue.
I know I'm really surprised with,
Yeah.
the how fans, retain their enthusiasm. Obviously it's been, they know that the teaser was bad, but still they showed up to watch the teaser in theaters. That is something we need to appreciate. That is something like that happens only in India. Like that, that unapologetic fandom, like no reasons given. Like, if I'm a Prabhas fan, I love Prabhas. That's it. I don't give two hoots about the quality of the film or the VFX of the film. I'm gonna stand with my favorite star. So, that for Adipurush, I was particularly surprised to watch those videos, because we all know that the film didn't carry that much positivity around it just until a few weeks back, right? So,
Right.
things taking a 180-degree turn, and suddenly all the positivity being channeled towards the film. It's very surprising. Like I said, it is very surprising that the film itself has a heroic arc of its own now.
Right. But I am genuinely, like I just said, I'm genuinely looking forward to those videos where people are going crazy.
Mm.
And I wanted to ask from you, do you have any, have you, I'm sure, and I would love for you to share some of your wildest theater experiences. Ki the audience went absolutely crazy and you were like, wow, what the hell is happening, man?
So, a couple, to be very frank, I wasn't privy to many of these fan celebration shows for a very long time. Like, my first early morning show, like, we have the practice of early morning shows
Yes.
in down south, especially in Chennai and Hyderabad. It's much more democratic in Chennai, to be very honest. But unlike Hyderabad, where the early morning screenings are reserved for the fans and the fan clubs. In Chennai, the theaters open 5 a.m. shows, and you can normally book tickets for a 4 a.m. show on Book My Show.
Right, right.
So yeah, unlike Hyderabad where it's restricted to fan club. So uh, I've had wonderful experiences, to be honest. The 4 a.m. show of KGF 2 is
Oh,
something that I'll never forget. It's so I watched it in a theater called Shiva Shakti, which is located in this area called Padi in Chennai. It's not the hub, like it's not the hub. Like there are theaters that people go to, right? Those iconic theaters. It's not one of those theaters, but it's a pretty good theater, and uh, it, it's a pretty good theater. It's the kind of theater that you'll get tickets at.
okay,
Like it's not like
okay.
the tickets go on sale and all the tickets are sold out in 2 minutes. It's not like that. You'll find tickets there, and that's one of the reasons why we would always go to Shiva Shakti. And KGF 2 was something else, man. Like I mean, like there wasn't any confetti like that, but uh, KGF 2 had released just a day after this massive film called Beast came out.
Right,
And I went to watch the 4 a.m. show of Beast as well, and
right.
I could see people, people were drunk. People were, I mean, like the fans, the young fans, they were drunk. They were dancing for Halamati Habibu, and that's it. 25 minutes later, everybody's done. 25 minutes later, you can sense that the jokes are not landing,
Hmm.
the heroic scenes are not working. So it's done. That once the action moves into the mall, and I was watching KGF just a day after that, 4 a.m., 4 a.m. in KGF, and you won't believe people fired crackers for
Yes.
KGF 2. That hadn't
I
happened.
have seen such videos. I haven't, I'm not sure if I've seen this video for KGF 2,
Yeah,
but I've actually seen people lighting firecrackers and dancing and the dhol, and
yeah,
it's a carnival, right?
yeah. Yeah, and this is happening in Chennai in a
Right.
normal theater. Like this is not the main center. This is not one of those theaters where people often where fans often celebrate a release of their favorite films. It is a normal theater. It's a 4 a.m. show, and people are bursting crackers. People are bursting crackers, and it was hell. It was entertaining as hell. Like one of those moments, one of those films where you know that the entire theater wants to enjoy the film. Every single person in the theater is there to enjoy the film and have a blast. So KGF 2 Buddy was one exhilarating experience. And you won't believe this. I often keep tweeting about it. The 4 a.m. show of Legend.
Ah,
See, that I understand that the film
yeah.
is it's a mockery of a film, it's a
No,
joke of a film.
and to be very clear, straight up, I haven't watched the film, and I
Okay.
only know
So
about it from social media and whatnot. Yeah.
see, it's a glorious, so bad that it's great kind of a film.
Okay.
Again, 4 a.m. show in this theater called Kamala,
Okay.
arguably the greatest early morning show I have ever experienced. No cage, not KGF, not Vikram, not Ponniyin Selvan, nothing. It's the legend. Because, like I said, every person in that theater, they knew what they were in for. They knew that the film was going to be bad. They knew that they wanted to have fun. They knew that they wanted to laugh at the film.
Right.
And every scene in that film, every scene, every dialogue, people were having a blast. I mean, so there is a moment, there is a point in that film just before the interval when the hero realizes so a bomb blast happens
Okay.
and the heroine dies, and the hero is the guy Sharvana, legend Sharvana. He's just staring at the bomb, at the car that's in flames, and the camera go moves towards him, like it tracks towards him. It comes to a close up and he starts crying, and once he starts crying, people started clapping in the theater. So that was the mood. I think you can find that theater response clip online.
Yeah.
If you can please do watch it. The
Sure.
Legend was something else, man. Like, see,
Wow.
the thing, I understand that KGF 2 is a genuine mass
Uh,
masala film, and
uh,
it kind of it generates that responses. But with Legend, it's like the energy was coming more from the audience and not from not the other way around.
right.
People wanted to enjoy the film, and everybody were having a great time. So Legend is an all timer, and KGF 2 comes close.
Awesome, man. I can already feel that energy. Like when you're describing it to me, it's like I can
Yeah.
visualize everything happening. Because see, I watched it on IMAX in Delhi, and like I'm from Delhi NCR. So in Delhi at an IMAX, the theater is full. The entire weekend is sold out, which honestly I did not expect. Ki in IMAX, where the ticket is going
Mm-hmm.
up to 1200, 1300 bucks, people are going for houseful shows for KGF Chapter 2. And boy, oh boy, what
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
amazing time I had. It was
Yeah.
fantastic, man. Also, I want to ask you that if I am very, very much interested in experiencing these things. So if I come down to Hyderabad, which is the screen which I should go to?
See, I'll tell you, if you want, in Hyderabad, there is an area called RTC Crossroads.
Okay.
Okay, so that's an area, and it's hub for 5 to 6 theaters. Like, it's been like these theaters have are like 3 to 4 decades old now, and that is the home for cinephiles. Like, cinephiles in the sense, the
I understand.
crowd that wants to enjoy. You
Yes.
know, there are people who will watch films in multiplexes, but the people who come here, they come to celebrate. They don't come to watch the film. They come to celebrate. I mean, all the videos of Adipurush's trailer reactions that you have seen today,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure half of them must have been from RTC Crossroads. So RTC Crossroads is where people celebrate films. Like, anything, like, even I haven't seen many films in RTC Crossroads. Even the idea of RTC Crossroads is still very, it's pretty much like fantasy in my mind, because even I
Mhm.
haven't explored it that much. So I would suggest, if you come to Hyderabad, it's RTC Crossroads. But the thing is, the difference between Hyderabad and Chennai is that
Mm.
in Chennai, the early morning shows, like right now, the government has has there are no early morning shows permitted in Chennai right now. But when that was the norm, Chennai was much more liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah. To come down to Hyderabad, RTC Crossroads, without a doubt.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm sure the people watching this episode can come up with many more such recommendations in the comments.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. And congratulations for getting into Film Companion South. It really,
Thanks a lot.
I think it must be like, I don't even have to say that. It must be a huge deal for you to get such an opportunity, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, it's been a, how do I say it? It's
Excellent.
a dream come true of sorts. Yeah,
I mean, we all can hope the best for you, man. Coming
hopefully.
to, and since we are talking about posts, which like as in positions that you are taking care of right now, so there are so many other things which you are apart from being a journalist for Film Companion. And according to your Twitter bio, you have told us that you are a popcorn intellectual, you are a black and white fan, you are an aspect ratio enthusiast, and you are a silhouette aficionado. I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so can you just please elaborate all these categories by giving specific examples, and please enlighten me with your love for these aspects?
See,
Because also, guys, by the way, he lives and 1080p 35 mm. Please remember that, I guess.
wow,
So,
wow, wow.
yeah,
So I really don't know if I can elaborate on them,
yeah.
because, see, I'll tell you, if I see a film, when have you seen Dasara?
No, I still have to watch it.
Acha, okay. So I don't know, buddy. I see a film. If I see a film, and if there is a still out shot in it, I don't know why. Somehow I don't see it as cinematography, but suddenly it becomes art form.
Wow.
If it's a still out. See, You know this theory, right? The greatest characters ever created, all the iconic characters that we have in cinema, they all have one trait, that is a great silhouette. You take Darth Vader, you take Yoda, you take Harry Potter, anybody, you name the iconic character, you will be able to identify them with their silhouette.
Even Batman
Any
for that
character,
matter.
Batman, Superman,
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
every Marvel character, every DC character, Spider, everything. If it's iconic, that means you will be able to identify it with its silhouette. So I somehow have this fascination towards silhouettes because for for that particular moment, I think that film becomes a painting of sorts. That's the closest of see. We have this phrase, no, every frame a painting, and even I use it a lot. Every frame a painting level beauty to describe a film. But to me, the closest a film comes to that phrase is when there is a silhouette. And if you look at all those westerns, those John
Yeah,
Ford,
yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
Clint Eastwood westerns,
Absolutely.
there are there are so many great silhouettes, man. If you take searchers or you take something like Lawrence of Arabia, it has
Yeah,
so many great silhouettes that
yeah.
for a brief moment I'm like, okay, wow, now this is art, this is cinema. And that happens with Lawrence of Arabia also, and that happens with something as mainstream as a film like Crack. There is a Telugu film called
Yeah,
Crack,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and there
Yeah.
is one specific sequence in that film that where the protagonist is attacked in a bus stand
Okay,
in the thick of the night, and most of that sequence is shot using silhouettes.
okay.
So be it that or be it this, I somehow think that silhouettes bring so much beauty to a film. So I hope that answers at least one part of my bio.
No, this is
What's the
absolutely beautiful, and I think I think if I may, I'll simplify it for you. Like when it comes to aspect ratios. So do you have like a favorite aspect ratio that
16 is
185
to 9?
चाहिए? 16 by 9. Okay, perfect.
16 by 9. Because see, two things. 16 is to 9 looks beautiful on TV and laptop.
Agreed.
And that is where, and to be very honest, we have been exposed to the greatest of the films on our laptops. Obviously we go to theaters, that's there,
Right.
but we
Right.
have discovered a lot of classics. We have discovered films from the golden era
Yeah.
on our laptops, and I just love it when my laptop screen is filled with image. I don't like those black bars, to be very honest.
Okay.
But if I'm watching it in a theater, I don't like that 1.85 or 16 is to 9 because our screens are in
Right.
that 2.35, right?
Yep.
For example, I went to watch this film called Virata Parvam that released
Mm-hmm.
last year, and that film was, or even this Nandita Das film called Zvigato. So
Zugato. Yeah.
these films are shot in 1.85
Yes.
aspect ratio, and
Yeah.
when you watch it on our conventional screen, you see black bars
Correct.
on the sides, and that's pretty distracting. To be very
Okay.
honest,
Okay.
it is distracting. I can't get those things out of my head.
Okay.
So my favorite is 16 is to 9 or 1.85 or the IMAX 1.91 or
One
1.4. I
four three. Yeah.
We really don't have you know one bad thing about India is that nobody specifies the screen uh, ratios. So obviously in the US and UK, the theaters they specify it, but in India it's not as clearly documented as other foreign properties.
Right.
So I want the screen to be filled with image, and laptops and TVs are the screens that we are exposed to the most, right? So 16 is to 9 is my favorite.
Yeah, and that is the reason why like I'm sure there are a lot of people, including you, who if they are watching a film in IMAX, and if the entire film is in either 190 or 143, that's a joy.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a joy.
which is why I was very happy with Avatar 2, which is why I think I will have a great time with The Flash, which is entirely in 190. I did not watch
Guardians too.
yeah, I did not watch Guardian. I watched Guardians 2. I haven't seen Guardians 3, but I know that Guardians 3 is also in that complete full
Yeah,
aspect ratio.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I was
Excellent.
very happy. I was talking to a friend. I was talking to a friend just a day before I watched Guardians, and so I asked this guy. So the thing is, a lot of people don't know the difference. Somehow, people don't even find that. Sometimes when the film shifts its
Aspect
aspect
ratio.
ratio
Yeah.
from 2.35 to 1.8, they don't
See
somehow
the
they are probably too immersed in the film that they can't register the difference. So I kept pestering my friend about, you tell me whether you could see black bars on the top and the bottom, and he said no, I didn't find anything, it was full. So that's when I was like, okay, now I'm gonna watch this film in IMAX probably, else and otherwise I might not have seen. So yeah, so IMAX is also my I wish I could afford to watch every film in IMAX, but IMAX is my favorite. It's just my favorite format because somehow I hate 3D. I
okay.
absolutely hate 3D, but in IMAX it looks good. Probably because of the image or just the clarity or the clarity. It just looks pristine in IMAX.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched Avatar 2 twice,
Yeah.
once in a normal multiplex screen and once in the IMAX.
Right.
Trust me, it looked like there is no comparison. Like it's two different films. It's two
Mm.
different films. IMAX is a different film in IMAX.
Yeah, yeah.
See, Avatar is a different film in IMAX.
Yeah. Which is why I think the biggest IMAX film this year is going to be Oppenheimer, for sure.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I really hope that Indian films also come in the full IMAX aspect ratio, because it's great that films are releasing in IMAX, which at least gives you much better sound output. But I hope that they also maintain the aspect ratio. But now I
Yeah.
wanted to shift a little bit and just ask you, like, what's keeping you busy these days? Is it the usual work, or do you have something very different on your plate right now which you are trying to manage?
No, it's like I was on a break for a month and a half, so I'm back to working now. So I quit New Indian Express
Yeah.
on March 16th. So from March 16th to April 24th, 25th, I was doing nothing. I was chilling. So I wanted to get back to work. Like I wanted to get back to film company. I wanted to join film company as soon as possible and start the coverage because Telugu had a lot of great releases in April. But my boss, he told me, "You chill, take that break, and come." He's good. He was kind enough to say that. Take your time off, refresh, get refreshed, and join us. Because once you are in, I might not be able to afford such a long break, right? So
Mm.
so these days I'm working. So my position is something that encompasses both video and text.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that might not be reflecting on my Twitter feed or my social media profiles, because that's just a lot of uh, text work, editorial work
Yeah.
that keeps happening behind the scenes. So that's there, and we have. So I so my first video interview for FC South went up yesterday
Yeah.
with Naga Chaitanya,
Yes.
and I'm hoping so badly for the film to be great because I want to talk to the filmmaker Venkat Prabhu.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite working filmmakers right now. So I'm rooting for the film. So I can talk to him once the film comes out, and then we have a couple of interviews lined up, text wise and video wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty, what do you call? It's pretty good actually. It's the work is not I don't know if I should be saying this, but the work is it's great. Like everything is organized in FC. I mean, like these people, the teams, whoever, the people, my seniors, everyone who has was been with the organization for a couple of years now have worked so hard to streamline so many processes that there is everything is clearly spelled out. So so there is no so whatever I do, it's there is no wastage
Yeah,
in work. Yeah, so it's not like I put in 3 hours of work and only 1 hour is being productive in that. No, but whatever I do, that it's productive because everything is so organized and the process are so clean here. It's not that intensive,
hmm,
thankfully, because of these the processes in place. It's not that intensive, but it keeps me pretty occupied. Yeah.
sure, sure. And before I ask my next question, first of all, I really, really want to thank you for bringing some of the very best interviews out there. And I mean it. Like I also watched Naga.
Thanks a lot.
I just watched Naga Chaitanya's interview. It was great. And I'm not the only guy saying this. Your Twitter feed is filled with this,
Thank
right?
you.
So
Thank you very much.
and the two videos that I really, really liked are of with one with Rajakrishnan sir and the other one with Srikar Prasad sir, because they are actually so valuable pieces of conversation for folks like me and for a lot of people who are just craving to know what actually goes in the minds of these uh, craftsmen, such amazing, amazing craftsmen. So thank you so much for that, man. Thank you for those two.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for mentioning. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you very much for mentioning those two because those two are also my favorite. Like so, Rajakrishnan M R sir's video is like it's like my favorite favorite interview. I'm
Right.
just so proud of that conversation because I never thought I'd be able to pull off something like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, like that whole experience of putting that video out was so it's like I consider it as one of it's a milestone to be very honest and
Yeah.
to, both these interviews changed my life. Shrikar Prasad
Absolutely.
interview literally changed my life.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure, man. That must be
Yeah.
that itself is like a massive opportunity. And
Yeah.
when it comes to the Rajakrishnan sir interview, more than I think, not more than, but as important as the person sitting is in front of you, it is also the environment in which you are in. It is also the kind of vibe that is there. You actually feel ki, yeah, man, I'm right there in the game.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. You got it. You understood it. See the interview we shot it in we have time, no?
I wanted to ask you if you have time. I mean, for how long can
I do,
you?
I do. I do, I
Okay.
do, I do. We can do.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Please.
that interview was shot in uh 4 frames. So
Okay.
that's this it's an iconic theater, sound mixing theater where some of the greatest films in the past 2 to 3 decades have come out of. So all the Priyadarshan films and so many great films that we have seen in the past 20 to 30 years came out of that recording studio.
Wow.
The recording studio where Mr. Rajakrishnan MR sits and works. So just to be inside the theater, it was see it's a vibe, man. Like you said, it's a
Yeah.
vibe. That theater, it is the it is the calmest place I have ever been to
I
because
okay. Just please complete
it
this. I'll
yeah
I'll
it
I'll say
is
that. Yeah.
it's the most silent place. Like it's pin drop silence. Like no, you can't hear anything, nothing because it has 3 doors. It has 3 doors. Like
Right.
proper.
Right. Right.
There is an aisle and there are 3 doors, and you have to under each door is like you know it's like this huge this thick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to cross those 3 doors and enter that studio, and you're just sitting there. Mr. Rajakrishnan M R is sitting there. You're facing him. You have that whole theater. It's an Atmos theater, and
Yeah,
I'm
man.
pretty sure that Atmos to get that that perfect equipment to get that calibrated.
Right.
I was in the middle of millions of worth, literally,
Right.
because it's a work of art, and it's beautiful. It's a work of art. Just to be sitting there and listening to this man who has been a part of who's been such a huge and prominent part of so many films from that have released in the past 2 to 3 decades. It was a privilege. Like it's a proper privilege to be uh, just have that opportunity to sit there and have that conversation with him. And he's such a nice person. Like you see that interview, you know
Yeah,
how
I
humble he is.
I've
He's like
seen that.
that.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen
He's
that.
like that.
Right.
He's so humble, and you know, I've tried to interview so many people in the past, and when you try to interview people, you know whether they are respecting you or not.
Mm.
As a journalist, when you approach somebody for interview, you know whether the respect that you are extending to your guest, whether that is being reciprocated or not. You always know it. Two people. One is Mr. Rajakrishnan M R and the other is Shrikar Prasad. These two people, I'm not saying just because they gave me good interviews, but I like them so much because they are really nice human beings. Like they respect others, despite being that, despite commanding that, uh, despite being in such commanding positions,
Yeah.
they are such nice, lovely people who will respect you, who will respect anybody. So I'll share an anecdote with Mr. Srikar Prasad.
Sure, sure.
So when Triple R had released
Yeah.
I was in Express only, and
Hmm.
a colleague of mine wanted to interview Shrika Prasad, and I was a huge Shrika Prasad fan. So
Okay.
when she went to interview Mr. Shrika Prasad, I tagged along, and I was there in the office. She was interviewing. I was just behind the cameras. I was watching the conversation in live. And after the conversation, he came to me and asked me, "What's your name?" Like he started a conversation. We were talking, and when I clicked the picture, I told him that when Ponniyin Selvan releases, I'll come and interview. I'll come and interview her. And he was like, "Wow, yeah." He was smiling and all. And when Ponniyin Selvan released, I called him, and he remembered that 5 minute chat I had with him months ago, and he still remembers me from that conversation. See, these are things that tell you whether somebody values you or not. And as someone who has, I'm not saying that I have met every celebrity, or I had to face a lot and all. I'm not saying that, but as someone who's been in the field for 2 years now, I've had a chance to interact with a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, but you just know it whether the person on the other end is respecting you or not. And Mr. Shrikar Prasad and Rajakrishnan M R are two of my uh, they are just they are just beautiful, lovely people. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. That is, I mean, these are some of the things that make such moments so memorable.
Yeah.
And when you just mentioned that the room was so quiet, so
Yeah.
let me share something with you that like when I started in my professional career, because of course YouTube is not full time, still not full time, but like when I started my career, my very first job, so I was working with this company, and we got a chance to go to a place in Delhi that whose job is to actually set up Dolby Atmos in theaters. They do it,
Wow.
right? They
Wow.
do that. And I was at this place and we did a couple of shoots, some interviews and everything. And then the lady who manages the place, she was very kind to just say ki, oh, you why don't you experience it for yourself? So
Wow.
I was there and I was a total newbie, man. They used to call me a mundu, but care.
Mhm.
Anyways, but I was at like I was like literally a newbie, and my boss was there, and my boss has said, huh, you want to see something? Yeah, wo. So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I sat with my boss. My boss played. जॉन विक चैप्टर 1 का वो गन फाइट वाला सीन इन द रेड सर्कल,
Right.
full Dolby Atmos, and the glasses are breaking and my heart is
Yes.
shattering, man. I was like, wow. But wait. This is not the best part. You know what's the best part? When I asked her to play the intro of Mad Max Fury Road. And boy, oh
Wow.
boy, I mean, Ram, I don't know how to describe that feeling, man. But it's like this is a real scene. Okay, so the movie is playing, and I'm sure you remember Mad Max Fury Road.
That
There's
rodent.
a
Yeah.
yeah, there is a scene when like Max drives his car, and then
And the
cars coming
yeah,
out.
that
I
yeah.
literally looked like this. I was like, wait,
Wow.
what is that? And like, of course,
Wow.
everyone was laughing and all that. But dude, that experience is still so fresh in my memory. And when you mentioned that silence, so that room was actually their spot to demonstrate the power of Dolby Atmos to theater owners or to people who want
Okay.
Dolby Atmos set up in their homes.
Wow.
So I got that opportunity, and they're still in business, which is fantastic. And someday, if the gods are kind, I think I'll probably get some setup, and I'll definitely go
Wow.
to those guys. But dude, that experience, uh, I simply don't have any words to describe.
Yeah.
I hope you
Wow,
understand what
man.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
say, man.
I do. I completely do. I
Yeah.
completely do. Wow.
So that was
Wow.
beautiful, man. That was beautiful. And yeah, I wanted to know, like, how did you get into film journalism? Because I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing you are not
Yeah,
like a film school
I'm
graduate,
not. I'm
right?
not.
Okay.
Uh,
So how did you
so,
get started?
so I'm an engineering graduate, and I
Okay.
was working, and I was into IT. I was into instructional design. I was into marketing analytics, and then pandemic happened. I think it's very funny because I quit my job. I quit my third job, and I took up my fourth job. This was in market analytics, and also it felt like everything was falling into place finally. Like, so my parents live in Pune, and we had just bought a house, and we had moved into a new house, and the office was very nearby. Like, it's like walking distance from home. Whereas my previous office was like I had to travel 25 kilometers every day. So everything was, and I was getting paid like decent enough pay. Everything was great, and everything felt perfect.
Yeah.
And 7 days later, a pandemic hits. Okay, 7 days
Yeah.
later, I
Wow.
joined the company on Monday. Uh, we had a meeting on Friday. We had
Yeah.
a meeting on Friday evening,
Right.
and they told us like अगले हफ्ते से एक हफ्ता वर्क फ्रॉम होम करेंगे
Yeah.
और उसके बाद देखेंगे. Okay, so I said, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
He took laptop, got laptop, everything. They had installed everything.
Huh.
All
The
those
company
applications,
stuff. Yeah.
company applications. Yeah,
Huh. Huh.
I came home March, April, May, June, and by June I lost it.
Yeah.
By June I lost it because I wasn't liking the work. See,
Right.
again, it was not intensive. It was pretty cool. It was pretty chill. I just had to do a set of tasks, per, perfect 8 hour work day, 5 days a week, decent pay, everything was good, but somehow it wasn't working for me. I knew that I couldn't sustain a day longer in this organization, and in November 2020, I quit.
Okay.
So I was, see, to be very honest, my parents are super supportive in that sense. So in November 2020, I didn't have a plan at all. I
Right.
was done with this, and I really didn't have an idea to get into film journalism either back then. Just that I couldn't take the stress any longer. I wasn't enjoying the work that I was doing. It was taking a terrible toll on my mental health. So I quit the job in November 2020 without any plan, without any
Right.
plan. And my blind belief was that वैसे तो pandemic चल रहा है, like nothing is happening anywhere. So it's not like I'm going to lose anything while the whole world is on standstill. So I'm not. It's not like everybody will uh, will move ahead of me. So I quit my job in November 2020, and that's when I had pitched. So in the meanwhile, I had a blog. In the meanwhile, I had a blog. In the meanwhile, I was writing for a few websites. So there is a website called Crooked Marquee. Okay, I'll share the link. It's a pretty good website. So the editor of the website is Mr. Jason Bailey. He
Okay.
writes for the New York Times. So he is the editor of Crooked Marquee, and I had pitched a story about Holocaust and its representation in films, and they paid me an amount that I couldn't have imagined. And so that gave me confidence that, see, I'm not saying it's not a lakh or it's not a 2 lakh, it's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
lakh or 2 lakhs,
No, I
but
understand. I understand.
it gave me a confidence that okay, I might. So it's possible to write about films and make a living out of it. It's possible to make, like, it's possible to earn by writing about films. That gave me that thought, that idea was sown in my mind.
Yeah.
And so that was happening from August, September, October. I was writing for different websites. Not all were paid gigs, but yeah, I was writing. I was sailing. That boat was sailing.
Right.
So after quitting uh, the job in November 2020, I wanted to get into film companion, but I knew that they wouldn't hire me because I'm a nobody. And so I used to write readers articles. They had just started readers write section, and I knew. I mean, like, I would submit uh, articles to Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan, and at times he would get them published in Film Companion, or at times for his blog. I mean, like, I would send articles for his blog, but he was kind enough to give me a promotion of sorts and uh, get them published in Film Companion. So I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you the most important bit.
Right.
That is attending Young Critics Lab in 2019.
Oh,
So
nice.
by Mami, where Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan was our mentor.
Right.
So that is where this whole writing about films thing came into my mind. So that's when I actually got pretty attracted to the, and people like Rahul Desai, people like
Hmm.
Rahul Desai, Bharadwaj Rangan. These people have been like huge influences
Right.
on me, because they were making a living out of writing and talking about films,
Right.
which kind of blew my mind. And these people, they weren't doing the sleazy stuff that we see on TV. So
Okay.
that was a differentiating factor. So I obviously knew that you can make a living out of films, but
Hmm.
these two people, Rahul Desai and Bharadwaj Rangan, they never indulged in any sleaze or gossip, and all they were
Yeah.
doing was the right quality stuff, and they commanded so much respect and a
Hmm.
lot of and such wide readership, and that was very inspiring. So
Right.
after Young Critics Lab in 2019, all this, and again coming back to November 2020, I had pitched a video essay idea to Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan to make for Film Companion South. It is about Sankranti. So Sankranti is the festival
Yes,
that
I've
we
seen that. I've
celebrate.
seen that one. Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah.
Sankranti is the festival that we celebrate down south in
Right,
the
right,
second
right.
week of January. It's a
Yep.
harvesting festival.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that has, like, Sankranti is like very big deal in Telugu,
Yes.
uh, in Telugu cinema, because the biggest of the films released during the festival. So
Right.
I had pitched a story. I had pitched a video. I had pitched a story. It got rejected as an article because I had pitched it in August and Sankranti was in January.
Right.
They told me, wait, we'll publish this in January. So I
Okay.
was like, okay, I was waiting with it anyway. So I said, why not make it into a video essay? Because I had like a month time. So Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan said, okay, go ahead. I made that video essay. It went up. It didn't do like great numbers and all. but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Mr. Bharadwaj Ranga knew me, and people in the film journalism circle, they came to know about me. And at exact same time, on January 11th to 2021, Mr. Sudhir Srinivasan had posted a tweet about Cinema Express hiring a reporter for their Chennai desk.
Right.
And I applied immediately. I got in touch with Mr. Sudhir Srinivasan. He had seen my like I sent him my video essay and some other articles that I wrote, and yeah, and Mr. Sudhir Srinivasan was kind and brave enough to give some random guy a shot, and he made me a film journalist. Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's when I moved to Chennai in March 2021.
Okay.
And yeah, March 2021 to March 2023, I was with Xpress.
Yeah, and miles to go, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure, man. Coming back to your interviews, because your interviews are actually, like, again, I'm not exaggerating, they are quite helpful, valuable, and entertaining at the same time. So I wanted to know,
Thanks a
like,
lot.
yeah, I wanted to know what is that one thing which you do before an interview. Now, I'm not saying that oh, you do research, because of course you would research about the guest, but like, is there any regimen that you like to follow apart from researching for the guest? Is there any particular routine that you have, just so that you are, fully prepared for the conversation?
Hey, you can never be fully prepared.
Okay.
You can never be fully prepared for a conversation, because even if you're prepared, spontaneity matters a lot.
Yeah.
So, to be very honest, research, man, that's it.
Okay.
There's nothing else,
Okay.
because research is everything, to be very honest. And research and spontaneity. It's not like you research and you make 10 questions. So I'll tell you what happens. I make a list of 10 questions and I go and I ask the first question, and the guest gives me an answer that covers three more questions that I had. So what do I do?
Right.
I have to be spontaneous, right? So this happens a lot of times to me, and I used to panic when this happens. And one of the curses of being an interviewer is, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, obviously not seasoned interviewers like Sudhir Srinivasan or Anupama Chopra or Bharadwaj Rangan, they might not be experiencing it, but I talk to a lot of people, and they tell me that when they are interviewing someone, they can't enjoy the conversation. You really can't enjoy the conversation because you're constantly thinking about what to ask next. See, it happens. It happens to me a lot. It happened to me with Naga Chaitanya interview as well, the one I did 2 days back. So it keeps happening. So what I do is, obviously, research. I try to watch their latest interviews. I try to read about them. Obviously, watching their films, the work that they have done,
Mm.
and if you're such a great journalist, and if you have the contacts, the great thing that you can do, and I know some people do this, is call up their colleagues and ask them about your subject. So that gives you some details or perspectives that you might not find online.
Right.
Okay. Uh, and more than anything, you just have to think, see, it all comes from your personal interest. Okay. The very first thing is you need to be interested in the guest.
Right.
You have to be interested in the guest, man.
Yeah.
If you are not interested in the guest, it will show up in the conversation. You
Mm.
have to be interested in the person that you are talking to, and make sure that you don't ask them the same question that they have answered a million times. So
Yeah.
what you do is research, and for an interview, at least right now, 2 years into this field, I think that research is all that I do. I don't do anything beyond that. Maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, my answer might vary, but right now I just do research, and I generally don't make formulate my questions.
Okay.
I don't. A lot of people do that. It's a very good practice, but I generally don't do that. It depends on the person I'm talking to. For
Right.
instance, so for Chaitanya, I had proper questions. I had like order of questions because there are a lot of metrics that we have to consider to keep the audience retention rate on YouTube and all. They are all factors. So
Right.
your you have to, the sequence of questions and all, it kind of
Right.
matters.
Right.
So for Chaitanya, I had an order, but I didn't follow that order because I forgot the order. And you don't see that in the video. I was holding a tablet, and the tablet got locked, and
Oh shit.
because and this was the first time I was carrying a tablet. It was a very bad idea, to be very honest. It was a very
Right.
bad idea. I thought the font will be bigger, so it will be easier for me to
Huh.
refer.
Huh.
But no, it's a pretty huge screen, and if I had to open the lock, I could see that I had to pick it up and open that, and that could be very distracting. So I didn't do that. So I forgot the order of the questions, and I went with whatever I could remember. Uh, yeah, so that's it. We shouldn't, make it. I don't think. I think the magic is not stressing too much on it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Be-
the magic is to forget that it's an interview and just have a chat with your person. That's it. Chat
Right.
with the person in front of you, forgetting that it's an interview. Yeah.
Right.
Research, spontaneity, and keeping it simple. Yeah.
Because I was thinking that it's all about asking the right questions at the right time. The reason why I'm saying this is because when you are interviewing, it's not just about representing a particular publication or a media house or a brand. I'm sure you are also excited and curious as a film lover, or you just like the person a lot, right? And you have been wanting to talk to this person. वैसे भी, like in general, you are very curious. So I wanted to know, like, how can someone balance that inner excitement with the outer professionalism?
It's good to have that excitement, no?
Yeah.
I don't I don't see excitement or that, see,
Yeah.
obviously you can't be a fanboy or a fangirl when you're representing a media
Right.
house. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure if somebody has reached a point where they are interviewing their favorite star for a reputed publication, by that time they have learned enough lessons
Hmm.
to on how to carry themselves. So, this interview called Jake Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
Jake
Jake
Steele.
Hamilton. Yeah.
So I love him. What I love about him is how excited he is and how enthusiastic he is. Like, he becomes a total fanboy when he's talking to somebody like a Han Solo,
Yeah.
or I
Yeah.
mean, like, actors who's
Sure.
like a Harrison Ford or a Tom Hanks, but
Yeah.
but he never lets go of his professionalism. So I think being being excited about it, being enthusiastic, being energetic, or being effervescent about the interview, it only adds charm and personality
Hmm.
to the conversation. So I would, to be very honest, I would recommend people, anybody, if somebody wants to, like, journalists, like, I mean, like, that is the kind of interview I would like to watch, man. Like,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just don't want to watch just a person, person with a straight face just read out a
Yeah.
question, or someone who's too serious, someone who takes themselves too serious. There's no joy in watching that. Even Mr. Bharadwaj Rangan is so watchable
Yeah. Sure.
because you can see his personality. So
True.
sorry, I'm beating
No,
around
that's
the bush.
fine.
So if your personality reflects through the conversation,
Right.
and by personality I mean your energy, or
Hmm.
your expression, if it reflects in that conversation, that's great. Go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so but I was curious that since you are like, despite really loving what you do, uh is there anything that you do not like about interviews, any part, like something which you
Yeah.
feel ki yaar, oh come on man, I have to do this? Like for example, in content creation, sometimes I don't like to edit. I'm like, come on man, can someone just do this for me? I mostly like to write my scripts. So is there anything which you feel ki, uh why do I have to do this, man? Let's just get done with the interview or something.
See, I'll tell you. The thing with interviews is the hardest part about getting an interview about an interview is scheduling the interview.
Okay.
I don't
All
like
right.
that. I hate it. Coordinating with the PR, coordinating with the guests, coordinating with the camera team. I hate it, man. It's hell. It's hell, especially if I'm an individual. Like right now in Film Companion South, things are in place, but in the previous organization it was much more difficult, because the resources were limited. We had to uh, play around accordingly. They would
Right.
multiple, because we are an 8-member team. uh, Interviews would clash,
Hmm.
and if it's so much uh, planning, it's coordination. I hate that coordination. By the time I sit in front of the guest, and by the time the cameras roll, I have lost interest in that interview because it has exhausted me by then. I don't like scheduling interviews. I can hate the scheduling part of interviews. But
Yeah.
once you are there, and once the camera start rolling, and once the guest is there, and once you're having that conversation, that's it. That's just beautiful. But to reach that point, you have to go through hell. I wish I could. I wish I we could bypass that phase. I hate that
Sure.
part. Yeah.
Sure. Before moving ahead, I just wanted to know, like, are you available for 30 more minutes or 45 more
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah.
As in like 35 or 30 or 45, as in, because I'll
45
accordingly ask.
works.
45 works?
45.
Awesome.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely have so much to talk to you about. And I'm sure,
I'm kind of surprised that you're not bored yet.
dude, you are talking about things that I love to talk about. So I don't think I'll be
Okay.
bored. Rest assured.
Okay, that's good to
Okay.
know.
Don't
That's
worry about it,
reassuring.
man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, that the very first time I watched a South Indian film was Sarai Nodu on Set Max.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful introduction. Yeah.
Wonderful introduction, right? And
Yeah.
but I'll say one thing, that I was actually, because see, that time I was like, uh, I was in college first year, right? So at that time when I saw the visuals of the film, I was actually blown away,
Yeah.
thinking that
Yeah.
I have never seen such kind of a treatment. I have never seen such slow motion photography and action and the stylistic treatment. So I never saw any of that. And I don't know why
Yeah.
I became obsessed with Sarai Nodu ki every time it comes on Setmax, I will watch it. यार मैंने कभी ये film पूरी नहीं देखी, I will watch it. So, and then of course now here I am. I have been introduced to Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, all kinds of cinema. But when it comes to Telugu cinema, I would love to know that how would you introduce someone to Telugu cinema, and how would you define what one should expect from Telugu cinema?
This is a very this is a huge question.
Okay.
See, Telugu cinema is star driven cinema. Of course, we have those little gems, but holistically, it is still a star driven cinema. It is a populist cinema in that sense. So, Mr. Venu Udgula, I had a chance to interview him. He's the director of Virata Parva. So he gave a beautiful statement that Telugu cinema is market driven. It is not
Okay.
content driven.
Okay.
Okay. He said that budget decides the story
Hmm.
and not the other way around.
Okay.
If you have 20 crores, you have to make a film within that. You will have to set your story within that budget. So since since stars play such a huge role in Telugu cinema, I would introduce someone to Telugu cinema with a quintessential star film. I would go with something like Kaleja, which I think is just the perfect marriage of uh, stardom, writing, and entertainment. Have you seen Kaleja?
No, this is the first time I'm
Okay,
hearing about the film.
okay. So it's a 2010 film starring Mahesh Babu. It's directed by Trivikram. Trivikram is
Yeah, I know Trivikram. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, Trivikram back. I mean, like he's still working, but
Yeah.
all those filmmakers have their prime, no, when everything they are touching is gold.
Gold. Yeah.
So in that sense, Mr. Trivikram has had a phase. Like he was a writer first, and then he became a filmmaker. And even after becoming a filmmaker, he had a streak, man. He had a streak that's kind of that's hard to replicate. Even Trivikram can't replicate it now. Even if he wants to, he can't write the way he used to write. So there are two films of Mr. Trivikram. One is Kaleja and the other is Jalsa. Kaleja stars Mahesh Babu and Jalsa stars Pawan Kalyan. Jalsa it's a pretty entertaining film. It is super entertaining. Like it has such a great rewatch value. You can just play that film. Like I mean, like if you have subtitles and if you have seen the film once, you can watch. You can just rewind clips of it and and rewatch sequences in that film because it is so lively. So I would recommend Jalsa and Kaleja, and primarily Kaleja because of the way the film managed to blend in certain themes within the canvas of this massive star vehicle. See, it's a huge film. It has Mahesh Babu, it has Anushka, it has Prakash Raj playing the villain. The conflict is huge. Like an entire village is dying, and they're awaiting the arrival of a messiah who will save them
Hmm.
from this epidemic that's killing people.
Okay.
So it is a huge film. Like thematically, it's very huge. It talks about divinity. It talks about how we have to find God in humans. So
Hmm.
it talks about those themes,
Right.
and I'm a sucker for uh, these kind of marriages. When an entertaining film, when a hardcore masala film that has 6 fights and 5 songs,
Hmm.
when that film manages to blend in themes like this, I mean, that's beautiful, no?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think Kaleja does a wonderful job. I would recommend Kaleja to anyone if somebody, if they haven't seen a single Telugu film yet, go with Kaleja. I know that there are better films. Okay,
Yeah.
there are
Of
way
course.
better films. There are better films. Like there are those classics
Yeah.
from the 70s and 80s. Everybody will talk about them. But practically speaking, if I want to introduce someone, if I have a friend come over to my home, and if I have to introduce them to a Telugu film, Kaleja or Jalsa, Kaleja would be my my film because it is such a, and now that everybody are discovering Telugu film cinema with Triple R, and
Yeah.
you know why everybody likes Triple R, right? They love Triple R for the adrenaline rush, for the hype that it gave. So in that sense, I think Kaleja beautifully represents the best of Telugu cinema and the Telugu masala sensibility. Of course,
Yes.
it has some. Uh, it also represents some bad attributes of Telugu cinema. Is that it has some scenes lifted from from Hollywood films and all. But that's okay. That's okay. It's a part and parcel
Right.
of a Telugu masala film. But
Yeah.
Kaleja, man, I'll show Kaleja to
Sure.
people.
Sure.
Yeah,
It has been saved to my watch list.
yeah.
I like, do you have any thoughts on the questions that are being raised these days, especially on social media, about how female characters are not being portrayed in a respectable manner in Telugu cinema?
This conversation has always been. It's not a new debate.
Okay.
It's not a new debate, and representation has been horrible. See, of course, there have been films by uh, Mr. K. Vishwanath, Mr. Bapu, who and even Mr. Jandiala, who portrayed, who wrote such dignified female characters back in the 90s, but 80s and 90s. But obviously, they have all been outliers of sorts, and they have been outliers. And yeah, the mainstream films, I think female characters are yet to get their due uh, in the mainstream films. To be very honest, things are changing.
Hmm.
Things are changing. The problem continues. It's not going to change overnight.
Yeah.
It is not going to change overnight. It's not going to change in 1 year. It's not going to change in 3 years. It will take time, but it will change because these questions are being raised. 5 to 6 years ago, representation was not a part of discourse. Say 5 to 6 years ago, it wasn't, people were not talking about problematic representation of different communities, problematic representation, not just female
Yeah.
characters, but speaking of representation,
Yeah. Yeah.
be it people of the LGBT communities. Telugu cinema has portrayed almost everybody in as shitty way as possible in the past, but things are changing now, and
Hmm.
filmmakers are acknowledging their mistakes. A great example would be uh, a filmmaker called Nandini Reddy.
Okay.
She made a film called uh, Ala Mudalaindi, in which there are a few homophobic jokes. And the filmmaker recently acknowledged that she shouldn't have done those and she would never do something like that. So points are being raised, things are being acknowledged, and we just hope that there won't be such gross representations
Hmm.
in the future. But like I said again, it won't come down to nil in a day or two.
Yeah.
We have had like I don't know which film we watched. What's the last week's release, man? Yeah. So last week a film called, I don't want to name that film. I have reviewed it anyway, so I don't want to take the name.
Sure.
Even last week a film released in which the heroine doesn't have any personality of sorts, in which she's just there because the film needs three songs so the producer can sell the audio rights and make some profit. So that's there. It will continue, but
Hmm.
I'm glad that people are, uh, you know,
Raising questions.
raising questions and problematizing these choices.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also, talking along with this, there is also like a different kinds of film discourse that takes place on social media. One of them is, which I like, I'm referring to one of your tweets in which you mentioned that Master is your best Lokesh film with the maximum rewatch value. And
I
I saw the kind of response that it got, which I think compelled you to further, take a deep dive into your comments. So what I
yeah.
wanted to know is that, do you feel that these days now it there is a need to justify something which is as simple as liking a particular director's film more than the rest of his filmography? And another thing I've witnessed, which you also mentioned about Walter Viraya, is that some of, like, I think you were being judged for liking like
Yeah,
a full-fledged commercial masala film. I feel that there is a place for everything. There is a place for commercial films. There is a place for art house cinema, and
yeah,
both will coexist. But do you feel that you really need to justify कि यार, if I like something, this is why I like it. मतलब there is no way that I can just get away with liking something.
yeah. I'm so glad you asked this question because see, people are intolerant to differing opinions. Intolerance is the word. They are not able to tolerate a different opinion. If if somebody says an opinion that doesn't align with theirs, it just means that the person got paid to say that stuff. If
Right.
matlab,
Huh.
there is no concept of difference of opinion online. I really don't understand that. I really don't understand why. I'm pretty sure if you sit down to people and have a chat with them in real life, they'll be normal people who will understand what I'm trying to say. And obviously, I'm also receptive to all the criticism
Yeah.
and all. But somehow online people are pretty intolerant, man. They just can't handle a different opinion, and it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate uh, because again, with anonymity, they can just spew random bullshit and they can get away with it.
Right.
And if you see online, not many people justify their opinions. See,
Hmm.
having an opinion is one thing, and being able to justify it is a different thing. And to
Hmm.
be very honest, what I said in that whole Lokesh Kanagaraj thing is that I didn't call Master his best film. It's just the most rewatchable film because parts of it is just unabashed heroism with great background score
Yeah.
that just makes those sequences fun to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas Kaidi is a more coherent, more suspense-driven screenplay. See, obviously there are great sequences in Kaidi as well, but as a whole, you can you can relish parts of Master better than you can enjoy Kaidi. Okay, that's what I had said, and but people are like, no, you can't say this shit because I don't think that way. So you can't do anything about it, even if you like properly explain why I feel this way. See,
Right.
the difference is that Paurush, there is no absolute truth about films. Okay,
Hmm.
there is no absolute truth here. Everything is a feeling. It's just feelings, man. And everything is so subjective here. Until and unless everything is subjective here. Until and there is a very uh, what do you call? Is Khaidi a good film or a bad film? That is subjective. Like I can Bharadwaj Rangan didn't like Khaidi. Does it mean it's a bad film? No, no.
Hmm.
Bharadwaj Rangan liked Master, but
Hmm.
does that mean that nobody hates Master? It's
Hmm.
not like that. It's a feeling, and I think it's more than the film. It has to do with the psychology of people. You just have to be receptive to what the other person has to say because listening I'm always open to hearing others' opinions. And if they don't match with mine, I'm way more interested because I want to understand what
Hmm.
compelled them to, forge such an opinion. And
Right.
this is the beauty of being in Cinema Express. When I was in Cinema Express, we were 7 to 8 people, and all of us would never land on the same opinion.
Hmm.
Everybody would have different opinions, and that was such a beautiful environment to discuss cinema because
Hmm.
everybody would have a different take on a film. Like they would differ on specific scenes, on specific dialogues. Say for something like there's a film called Kaatuvakla Rendu Kadal
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in Tamil.
I haven't watched it, but I'm very much familiar
Yeah,
with it. Yeah.
so it's a pretty polarizing film. People online hate it, but but there are people who enjoy it as well. So see, not everything is made for you, and not there is no, like I said, there is no absolute truth about it, man. You can like anything. I like anything. I'll dislike whatever I dislike. I have the right to like what I want. I have the right to dislike what I want. I won't think in a way, or I won't write in a way you want me to write, because that's not me. I can only be me. Uh, and if you like my thoughts and if you like my views, follow me. Or if you don't, if you think this relationship is not compatible, find someone whom you are happy with. Find someone who with whom you resonate with.
Hmm.
That's it. There are a lot of other people. See, everybody has an opinion.
Right.
Everybody has a different opinion. You will
Right.
find someone who will resonate with your opinion online.
Yeah.
You will definitely find, because you go and say something that you go and say something like, I don't know how do I phrase it in the most non-controversial way. You go and say that Salman Khan is the greatest actor ever produced in India. You will find people who will accept and agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, you post that opinion, you will find people who will agree with you.
Yeah.
You go and say that Daniel Day-Lewis is the worst actor produced by Hollywood. You will find people who will accept. You will find people who will agree with you. So it's just about finding the people that you resonate with, and go get stuck in your echo chambers is what I say. Don't listen to any uh, differing opinions.
Hmm.
Don't try to expand your understanding or uh, horizons. And there is no right or wrong here. Like, do
Right.
whatever you want. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like you just said that, and I totally agree that, and this is something I've also said in my previous video essays, that the beauty of cinema is subjectivity. The
Yeah.
beauty of cinema is subjectivity. Like, I
Mm.
can say something like Fahad Fazil's best performance that I can think of right now is in Trance. And there might be people who will say, no, he might have,
It's my interpretation.
yeah,
Huh?
there
Uh,
might be a lot of differences, but there was a feeling of experiencing Fahad Fazil in Trance, which just blew me away. And
yeah.
for me, I think that is going to stay. I'm not saying that Fahad Fazil's previous films, which most of them I haven't watched, but even those I have watched, including the OG Kumbalangi Nights and all those, I agree that
Mm.
he's a fantastic actor. But there is something about trance which just took me to a trance mode. And the reason why I was asking this is also because then you also get that feedback or criticism or opinion of biased reviews,
Uh,
paid reviews. So, and then it becomes, sometimes it becomes difficult to just rely on anything for that matter, because you just start thinking, wait, if everything is a paid review, then what should I do? Should I go and watch the film or should I not go? But even if I go and watch the film, I feel something like that, but wait, that person is saying something else. You get into that confusion.
See, I'll tell you the root of all these problems.
Right.
It is the fact that we mistake reviews for recommendations. And unfortunately, that's the state that we are in right now.
Hmm.
But I personally, Paurush, I don't take reviews, I don't consider reviews as recommendations. If I want to watch a film, I'll watch that film, regardless of what people are saying on Twitter, regardless of how badly the reviews are thrashing, the reviewers are thrashing it, regardless of even if it gets a 1.5 star or half star, all those ratings and all, I don't care. If
Okay.
I want to watch that film, if I am interested, if the trailer interested me, if the promotional material interested me, or if I like the actor or the filmmaker, I
Right.
will watch that film. I will definitely watch that film, and then I'll make up my mind. I'll make up my mind for myself. I don't let the reviewers or the online responses tell me. I see, that's exactly, I don't treat them as recommendations at all. For instance, Kerala story is playing everywhere, and everybody is talking about it for the past 3 to 4 days. I'm just not interested in seeing that film. It's not the politics or the actors or It's not that I just don't want to watch that film. I have no interest in watching that film. I haven't seen Sita Ramam yet. I
Hmm.
really haven't seen Sita Ramam yet because I was never motivated to see that film for
Hmm.
some reason. I
Hmm.
like Dulquer Salman. I like that filmmaker also, Hanura Gopudi. But something about that film, something about that love story, that uh,
Did not resonate with
um,
you. Like,
yeah, that unrequited love and those themes, they just didn't feel interesting to me. And till date, I haven't seen that film. I haven't seen this film called Patitala, which stars
huh.
Simbu, which
STR.
which
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
music by A.R. Rahman. It's a pretty big film. It's a pretty big Tamil film. I didn't want to watch it. I wasn't driven to watch it, so I don't watch it. But if I want to watch something, I get to watch it. That's it. Even if it's a bad, see, there are some films that you look at the trailer and you know that it's going to be bad.
Hmm.
You see the trailer and you know that it's going to be bad. But sometimes I want to watch the film for myself and make sure whether it's bad or not.
Hmm.
I'm not going to let others tell me whether it's good or bad. So
Hmm.
I tell people the same thing. Read the review after watching the film. So a review is meant to to not. I wouldn't place my reviews on that level because I don't think I offer that much. But review is something that should. Okay, I'm a critic. Say, Film Companion considers that I am a critic. And what is my review? I watch a film called say what's the film? I see say I watch a film called Ponniyin Selvan.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Whether I like the film or I dislike the film, that's my opinion. Okay. But in the review, I'm trying to explain why I like it or why I dislike.
Correct.
That's the review. That's it. There's no rocket science here. I'll explain why I liked Ponniyin Selvan. I'll explain why I did not like Agent. That is the review. It is my subjective opinion. And obviously, I'm trying to be a better critic here by analyzing it well, by making sure that my points have some historical context
Hmm.
in terms of filmmaking, by proving that I know something about Mr. Maniratnam and where his work and his films, and where something like Ponniyin Selvan fits in the library of Mr. Maniratnam's works. So I have to be familiar with those things. But at the end of the day, a review is an opinion, and I'm trying to justify my opinion with as many facts as possible. I'm trying to I'm trying to bring an objective reasoning to support my subjective opinion. That is review. That's it. So my opinion is very personal. My review is also very personal. And obviously, I don't think like if like you said, the beauty of cinema is subjectivity. You
Correct.
process a film completely differently. I
Correct.
process a film completely differently. For instance, you are saying you are from Delhi. The way you process a film like Gurgaon might be completely different to the way I process it. Or
Hmm.
say something set in that milieu because I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with the accent or
Hmm.
or the culture. I have no idea. When I watch something like that, I'm an outsider.
Hmm.
I'm being introduced to a whole new world. So for me, it'll be a different experience. But for you, somebody who's from that place, you will be able to point out the nuances better, to point out the details better.
Right.
You can be the better judge there. So everything is a different everything is subjective, man. And obviously, last point, I'll finish with
Sure.
this.
Sure.
Last point is, you have to see the context of a film. If you see a film like Valteri Veerayya or 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 a Pathan, understand the context of these films. These films are not trying to be great cinema. You can't pitch these films with against a Parasite or a Banshees of Inisherin. That's different. This is different. Walter Viraya just wants to entertain the RTC Crossroads crowd. Patan wants to entertain the Gaiety Galaxy crowd.
Right.
Imagine playing Banshees of Inisherin in Gaiety Galaxy or RTC Crossroads.
Nobody would watch it. Nobody would watch
Nobody would watch it and people would mock it. But does that make it a bad film?
No.
No. That's the context of the film. And imagine playing something like Kisi Ka Bhai, Kisi Ka Jaan or something like Walter Viraya to an academic crowd. Will that make sense for them?
Not too
It
much.
won't make sense. But a film has its context. A film has its target audience, why that film is made, and you have to review the film within that context. If I review a Walter Viraya, I have to review it like a massy masala Chiranjeevi film that is releasing for Pongal. I can't compare it with Star or Everything Everywhere all at once. That's a different film. The context of that film is different.
Right.
This is different film. That doesn't make this a better film, or that doesn't make that any lesser of a film.
Gotcha.
I think a lot of people misunderstand the context. You have to understand the context of a film.
Sure.
Yeah.
And since we are running short of time, I'll just quickly ask you 3 more questions and then we are done.
Please. Yeah.
So this is a question that I copied from Twitter, sorry, but I think this question has this is the most difficult question, but it has some of the most fruitful answers. What is the best film you have ever seen that is longer than 3 hours? And I'm asking this specifically because these days everyone wants
recommendations.
No, not recommendations, but like, dude, can you give me a film which is like 2
hours long?
Right. Yeah, 2 hours long. If it's 2 hours 15 minutes, it's a very long movie. I'm like, dude, how can it be a very long film if it's just 15 minutes more?
I suck at recollecting these things, but I can think of what Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
Or 3 hours. Man, that's the only film somehow I can think of at the moment. Apocalypse Now.
Okay. I would say the extended editions of Lord of the Rings.
I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings films.
Okay.
I haven't.
No worries.
Yeah.
So you would say Apocalypse Now, correct?
Yeah.
All right. No worries. So, and what are some of the films that you are looking forward to the most this year and maybe next year?
Oppenheimer, Asteroid City, Salar.
Of course.
Leo.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm looking.
Any superhero stuff?
Superhero stuff. Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Not very much for Flash, to be very honest.
Okay.
Not into Flash.
You were mentioning this one film. Sorry, I cut you in the middle. STR movie, was that it?
STR?
No, you like Simbu. Did you mention one film from that you were expecting was from STR? No, okay. I might have.
NTR's next.
Yeah. Okay.
NTR's next. It looks very interesting. So
yeah.
Let's see. And I'm a sucker for comebacks, man.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for and Jailer, buddy. Yes. What I'm very excited to see what Nelson is doing.
I'm excited and I'm scared at the same time for Jailer. I mean, yeah.
I'm a sucker for comeback stories.
Right.
What Nelson went through after Beast, like I hated Beast with all my heart, but I want that man to come back because he made a bad film, but what he went through, I want that man to win now. And same with Koratala Shiva.
Yeah.
He made a terrible film called Acharya,
Yeah.
and now he's coming back with this NTR 30. I really hope he proves himself once again, because yeah, I'm a sucker for this comeback stories.
Yeah, and I think since you are mentioning comebacks, I just wanted to mention one small thing, that the biggest comeback that I am very happy for is that of Sanjay Dutt with KGF Chapter 2. Dude, that guy is on a roll right now. Like, I
Yeah.
think he is going to be offered a lot many more films. He's coming in Leo, and I'm sure he'll be off. I think he also has a cameo in Jawan. I don't know.
Jawan, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone, I just heard it from somewhere, or a speculation. I don't know what. But dude, he has made a huge comeback with Adhira's character
Yeah,
after
yeah,
KGF
yeah,
Chapter 2.
yeah.
The very last question, that if someone is pursuing the field of film journalism, what should be the biggest tenet or a principle that one needs to follow? Something that, like every job has a certain thing that you should remember.
I'd say retain your integrity, is what I will say, because once you're in the field now, there are a lot of distractions. People will tempt you, and these are things that won't help you in the long run. These are pretty transient. These are momentary. They give you momentary happiness, but in the long run, they won't help you. So I'll say keep your integrity alive. And one thing is that keep your personality alive, man. Like, if your personality, you see, is your USP. What makes you is your personality. That is what makes you. You have to be you. If you are just trying to mimic somebody else, or if you're trying to be a film journalist, I'm going to be all serious now. I am a film journalist. I have to be serious now. If you fall into that thought process, you will lose yourself. And when you be yourself, people will like people will like you for what you are, people will dislike you for what you are, but you're being you. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's easier to be you as well. It's, in fact, it's harder to pretend to be somebody you're not. So I'll say anybody, if you're a writer or a film journalist who's looking to come into the field, keep your personality and integrity intact. Yeah.
Excellent. That's a very good advice. And with that, I would like to close by saying that your reply on my email was a pleasant surprise. And this entire conversation was a huge, huge surprise for me. So thank you for allowing me this opportunity. It's been a great, great time. And I apologize if I sounded too excited or anything like that.
No,
If
no,
I overstepped in any way.
not at all. Not
Yeah.
at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
it has been a fun time with you, man. And I just wish you all the very, very best for whatever you do in your future. And I think यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा मैं अपने चैनल का नाम प्रमोट करूंगा, but I think you will agree. Long live cinema.
Please,
So,
please, long live cinema.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for asking me questions. Asking me nice questions. I mean, see, even I wanted to share these things, and I'm glad I got a platform
Thank you.
to platform and a safe space to do that. Where
Thank you, man.
what I'm saying is not you're not trying to sensationalize my replays. You're not trying to capitalize my angst or whatever that came
No,
through. So it felt like a very safe space to share these things.
thank you
Uh,
so much.
I hope I really didn't bore you,
Oh,
and I
come
hope I really
on.
don't bore the people who are going to watch this
Come
video.
on. I
So
mean,
thank you.
I'm sure the whoever watches this video is going to be happy, because we are having such a great conversation and you made it possible. So thank you so much for that, man. Thank you so much.